Hello everyone, my name's Max and I'm here to do the mid-year book freakout tag. I know, I don't look too good, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I've come to terms with it. So the mid-year book freakout tag was created by, I can't remember who the mid-year book freakout tag it was created by, but I will leave their links down below. I do believe it was created by two people, but let's just get into it. What this tag is about, it is kind of doing your January through June book read in review, and because I wanted to do this because you haven't been with me until March, so I thought that this would be good to give you a little bit of insight on what I have read so far this year. Question number 1 is the best book you've read so far. I do have to say that goes to The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I really did love this book. This is about a boy named Theo who is involved in a terrorist attack where his mother is killed, and he is given a painting and he goes back home and is kind of his life after that. It's such a fantastic, hard-hitting book, and I do recommend it. Number 2, the best sequel you've read. Now, I could say Lord of Shadows, and I am taking this as just the second book in the series, but honestly, Lord of Shadows disappointed me in some ways. It did. It wasn't my favorite. I thought it was a little too long. I didn't really like the romance in it, so I'm not going to be going with that one. And instead, I'm going to go with 10,000 Skies Above You by Claudia Gray. This is the second book in the Firebird trilogy, the first one being 1,000 Pieces of You, and the third one being A Million Worlds with You. This trilogy is about people who can travel between dimensions, and this girl's father is killed, and the man who she believes killed him is missing, and she goes to find him. It was such a fantastic trilogy. I really liked the second one. The second one is really what got me into the trilogy. I liked the first one. It wasn't my favorite, but when I read the second one, I really liked it. Next question is new release I haven't read but I want to. I do want to read A List of Cages by Robin Rowe. I've heard just amazing things about this. What I believe this is about, it is about a boy who used to have a foster brother, but I believe he's adopted, and then one day in high school he is brought to the principal's office saying that there's a boy that he needed help with, and I believe it's his old stepbrother or foster brother, something along those lines. I've just heard amazing things about it and I'd love to read it. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. This will come as no surprise to anyone because I talk about it every time I ask about an anticipated release, and this is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas. This is the 6th book in the Throne of Glass series, and it is telling what happens to Chaol during the events of Empire of Storms. I cannot wait. The cover just came out. I'm a little disappointed. It doesn't look like the rest of the covers, you know, with like Chaol on the front. But I can kind of understand why she changed it, because this isn't really Celaena's story, so she doesn't want to give people that impression. Biggest disappointment. Question number 5 is biggest disappointment. I'm going to go with 2 books. One is going to be a book that I genuinely didn't like, and one is going to be a book that I enjoyed, but it did not live up to its hype. The first one I'm going to be talking about is the one that I didn't like, and that is Winter Song by S.J. Jones. I am actually still technically currently reading this, but I did not like it whatsoever. I liked the beginning. Liesl, our main character, had such potential of being such a great main character, but it just didn't work out. She changed so drastically over like 5 pages on page like 200. If you don't know what this is about a girl whose sister is kidnapped by the Goblin King and she has to go find her. I thought this book was going to be more about her finding her sister, going through a maze or whatever. This was sold as a Goblin King / labyrinth retelling, but she finds her sister in the first 200 pages and it just goes way downhill after that, and I was really disappointed. And the next book I'm going to be talking about for that question is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. Everyone talks about how much they love this book, and I didn't like it almost at all. I thought it was so boring. I thought it's 475 pages, and if she had taken out like 100 pages, I think it would have been 10 times better. But it was just so long, and I just found pretty boring. If you don't know what this is about about a princess named Leah who runs away from an arranged marriage, and she's being followed by 2 men. One is the prince that she ran away from, and one is an assassin sent to kill her, and you don't know who is who. The premise sounds amazing. The characters are really good, but I just thought it was so slow. The second one I felt the same way, and I ended up DNFing the third one. I just don't want to talk about it. Question is biggest surprise. I'm going to go with one of the first books I read this year, and that was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. If you don't know what this is about, this is kind of an Iliad retelling with Achilles as one of the main characters and kind of following his story while he grows up and trains to go to the Trojan War. And it is told from his best friend Patroclus's point of view. This was so fantastic. I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was so much fun. I just enjoyed it so much. I loved Patroclus. I loved Achilles. I loved how it portrayed hubris and the hero's downfall, and I just thought it was so fantastic. It made me cry so hard, and it's just such a great book, and I was not expecting to love it so much, and I really want her to write a new book soon. Favorite new author, I'm going to have to go with Alexandra Bracken. She wrote the Darkest Minds trilogy, the Passenger duology. She's coming out with a new middle grade novel called The Strange and Dreadful Tales of Prosper Redding, I believe. I loved the Darkest Minds trilogy. I don't really like dystopian, but I just really enjoyed her trilogy, and I'm reading Passenger in August, and I got an advanced reader's copy of the Strange and Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding to give a review on. So I am also going to be reading that in August. I cannot wait. I just really enjoy her writing. I've heard just amazing things about her Passenger duology, and I cannot wait. Next question is newest fictional crush, and for this one I'm going to have to go with Peter Kavinsky from To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I read this yesterday. Started and finished it yesterday, and I ate this up like candy. I loved Peter. I thought he was so much fun. I thought he was so funny and such a great main guy character. If you don't know what this is about a girl named Lara Jean who, whenever she has a crush, she writes a letter to this crush. She seals it and she signs it and everything, but she never sends it out, and that's kind of her way of getting over her feelings. But then one day she comes home from school to find that all of her letters have been sent out. She has to deal with the repercussions. It was so fun. It was so funny. It was just so heartwarming. I cannot believe it's taken me this long to read it, and I cannot wait to read the second one. Next question is newest favorite character, and for this one I'm going to have to go with Amy Curry from Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. I also read this yesterday. I really enjoyed it. I had only read Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, and I had wanted to read all of her books in July, but then when I left all of the rest of the books I wanted to read in June at my dad's house, and I was at my mom's house, I started picking up a couple. And this was the first one I decided to pick up. If you don't know what this is about a girl named Amy whose father is killed in a car crash, and she and her mother are moving to Connecticut, and her mother wants her to drive their car cross country to get there from California, but she is terrified of driving. So her mother's friend's son Roger is recruited to take her because he is going to Philadelphia to visit his father. This is such a good book. I love Morgan Matson's style. I love her standalones. This felt like a slow burn, even though it all happened in one book. Amy was so great. She had her flaws. She had her strengths. She was just such a fun character to read, and I really enjoyed her. Number 10 is Book That Made You Cry, and I'm going to have to go with Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I'm not going to say why because those would be huge spoilers, but this made me sad, it made me cry, but it was also just so good, and I wish there was more with these characters. I hope that Leigh Bardugo writes another series in the Grishaverse, and maybe we can hear about these characters or see some more of them in the future. If you don't know what this duology is about, it is about 6 outcasts who are recruited to do this one impossible heist because there is a drug that can enhance the Grisha's powers, and they are being hired to find that drug for someone. It is so good. I just absolutely adored it. The next question is Book That Made You Happy. For this, I'm going to have to go with Uprooted by Naomi Novik. The reason why I chose this is because I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. This is about a village where this warlock called the Dragon comes down every 10 years to take a girl. He doesn't do anything bad with her. She's really just kind of his servant, but he takes her back to his castle, and in return, he protects them for another 10 years. And then on the next round, everyone thinks it's going to be this one girl is going to be chosen, but it's actually her best friend named Agnieszka, and it's because Agnieszka has magical powers and he needs to train her. I like this book so much. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked the characters, I liked the plot, and it made me really happy because I didn't expect to like it. The Number 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought so far, and I'm going to have to go with Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Just look at this cover. I just love it. I love the blue and the yellow because if you read the book, it makes more sense. And the moths, I love the symbolism. And I just love the shiny feel of this cover. If you don't know what this is about a boy named Lazo Strange who's obsessed with this lost city called Weep. And when a convoy from Weep comes and recruits people to help them defeat this bigger evil, he goes along for the ride. It was so fantastic. I was so surprised. It really surprised me because I wasn't a huge fan of The Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, but I really enjoyed this one. Number 13 is what book do you want to finish by the end of the year? And I'm going to go with Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. I was just talking about Alexandra Bracken. This is the first one in the Passenger duology. This is about a girl named Etta who is a violin prodigy during our time, but then she time travels to the 1700s, I believe, and has to get help from a pirate or just a captain of a ship. And I've heard mixed reviews, but I think I'll enjoy it. I've heard from people that I do really trust on BookTube that they really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to pick it up. I do plan on picking it up in August. And the last question is number 14, and it is who are your favorite BookTube community members? I love Haley over in Haley in Bookland. I actually saw her videos first, and that made me want to join BookTube. And then Reagan from the Peruse Project. Of course, Christine Riccio from Pullin' Bananas Books, Jessie from Jessie the Reader, Books with Emily Fox, and Regina Books. I really do enjoy all of those. I do also really like Clockwork Reader, Tashopolis, and Catty-tastic, but they're not my favorites. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. I will see you on Wednesday with the recommended reads. Bye!